Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. I don't know if I've ever shared this, but one of the ways that I'm able to keep on schedule with my videos is that I keep a running log of different types of titles when I brainstorm. And then periodically I go through, pick out a title, and put in the rough draft for a video with that title. And so I've probably got, I don't know, I never counted, 2 or 3 dozen different rough drafts sitting out there for videos that I've wanted to do and just haven't got around to. So I was going through my stack this morning and I found 2 with the exact same title. So that told me, okay, that must have been kind of important. So I read through them, and it was the same title, same concept, same message, but from a different viewpoint. One was from my investment viewpoint, and the other was from the types of investments that we were doing. So I decided, rather than try to do 2 videos with them, I'm going to try to combine them and just do one video. And the name of this video is Back to Basics Year, or Back to Basics 2023. I haven't decided yet. But that pretty much encapsulates what I'm looking to do in 2023. Now, I've done a couple of videos explaining why 2023 is going to be our wow year. We got a lot to do. We got a lot of ground to cover, and I just talked to my realtor this morning. I'm going to keep him on his toes for the next 12 months because I want just the perfect property. But anyway, the key to making all of this happen, other than God, is going to be for us to get back to basics. Now, what do I mean? Well, for the last couple of years, our whole thing has been to experiment, to learn, to research. For the last 2 years, we spent a lot of time in the market doing stocks and dividends and trading and all of that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much going to come to an end this year, at least temporarily, because we're going to have to concentrate on cash this year because of the goals for our game. We're going to spend $50,000 on a house. We're going to pay off a $9,000 car loan. So we're going to need some cash, and we're going to need a lot of it. So, back to basics. We started with nothing. We ended up with something. Let's get back to the basics that got us to where we are. And the first one I want to talk about is what got you here. For us, it was cash back on your credit cards, and believe it or not, cashing in aluminum cans. That's what got us here. And I still have my room, now 20 years later, a third of my apartment is filled with crushed aluminum cans. I'm going to go cash in and put the money in the ministry. But I do that simply so I won't forget where I came from. That used to be our only source of income. So I am back to where the basics are. And I've been there. I never left there. I've done that all along. And be creative. What got you here will be creative. You know, if cash back on your credit cards got you here, and you're still doing cash back on credit cards, try to find some unusual credit cards. Add a little bit of cash to it. Speaking of credit cards, one of the things that got us here was, like I said, cash back. But over the last few years, I've gotten a little sloppy because my plate got more full. So this year, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on the 90-day rotations that most cards have with them for 5%. So like on gasoline for the last 6 months, instead of getting 3% day in and day out like I do on my American Express, I've gotten 5%. Now it's only 2%, but it's 2% for 6 months. Okay. So it's only $20 in a year. That's $20 I didn't have. And that's how I looked at it when I first got started. I want to try to be a little bit more religious about taking the money out of my cashback credit cards. I've got over 1,000 sitting there, and I've already pulled a couple hundred out. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more studious about that. And of course I'm going to try to use them, like I said, more on the quarterly basis. Another thing that I did for years, and I kind of got out of the habit of because I was making a lot of cash, relatively, was to take care of my checking account. Now, I've got an overdraft protection, which is good, but I hate paying interest. So one of the things I'm going to get back to doing is, let's say I'm going to put $1,000 in our mutual fund. Well, I'm going to take that $1,000 out at the first of the month and just sit it in my checking account and let that be a buffer. So that in case I've made a mistake, it'll come out of that. And then I'm going to mail my $1,000 to the mutual fund at the end of the month. That way, each month I'm getting a 30-day protection on my checking account in addition to my overdraft protection. With regards to the checking account, I'm going to try to be a little bit more proactive, which means I want to try to run my checking account a little bit closer so that every dollar is doing something. It's either protecting my checking account, it's building in the savings account, it's in the mutual fund, it's in the savings account for our properties. I want every dollar doing something to help us build wealth and build cash. Every asset. And I spent one video not too long ago talking about leveraging everything, not to the hilt. And I think we're doing an okay job on leverage. Now, one of the things that we're going to change is our mutual fund. The last when we first got started, every $500 extra I got that I saved, I shipped off to the mutual fund, and I did that for several years. And it was $500 because that was a minimum you could deposit into this mutual fund that I got. And that was a good thing. It was a good motivator. And then as we picked up steam and we saved money and we built our mutual fund up, then I started buying properties. So then I would take the money out of the mutual fund and buy properties. So we've got the mutual funds down to where, they were just 4 figures sitting there. And so now we're building them. We're going to start building back up. One of them's back to 5 figures, and the other one's going to be there shortly. But what we're doing is every dollar has got a time and a place. They take it out of my payroll. They put it into my savings account. It sits in my savings account for a while. Then it goes into my checking account as a buffer for 30 days. Then it goes from my checking account to the mutual fund, and we're going to do that to the tune of about $1,000 or $1,500 per month for this year. So we're going to build that back up, and by the time the end of next year comes around, we ought to have close to enough in that mutual fund to go pay cash for our little house. I'll have to take some cash from somewhere else or go borrow it or whatever it is I need to do. But we are going to build that mutual fund up because that's how we used to do it before we started buying properties. And now that we're going to buy one for cash, we're going to do that, but we're going to do it with gusto. Now, the thing that got us here, one of the many things that got us here, was living far below our means. And I'm in the process of making, I call it the ultimate guide to living frugally. I've got pages and pages and pages and pages of frugal tips to live by, just to live below your means. You know, I only make $15 an hour, but I live on less than $1,000 a month. So everything I make, everything the properties make, everything goes right back in to building our wealth, because that's what got us here in the first place, and that's what's going to put us up over the top. So what conclusions can I draw from the past years to this coming year when we talk about getting back to the basics? And I don't mean just back to the basics, you know, how to field a pop-up. I mean, I want to talk about the basics. When we got started, what did we used to do and do very well that we haven't been doing very well or doing at all? And I covered a few of them. Credit cards is one. Using our mutual fund is one. Getting out of the market is one. Living frugally is one. And the next one, you know, and you would think that as many years as I've done this, I should be down to zero. I'm not. I've still got AT&T out there charging me $150 a month for my phone, mine and my daughter's phone. Which, by the way, my daughter got off of it. They're still charging me $150 a month. So anyway, but I'm going to go to Cricket, I think, and I should be able to get, now that I'm down to one line, I should be able to go from $150 to $35 a month for my phone, which means I can put over $100 more per month into my savings, and that's where we want to be. I'm also going to pay my car off, so that'll be another $250 a month after next year that we can put into our savings. But even with my car payment and even with the phone and all of that, I still live on about $1,000 a month. But living frugally is how we got there, and I want to get back to the basics on living frugally. I want to go back and examine a lot of the things that I used to do that I haven't been doing lately. So I think when you're looking for a wow year, which is what we're looking for in 2023, we're looking for a wow year. I think when you're looking for a year like that, you have to pull out all the stops. No matter how big or how small, no matter how inconvenient or not, you need to pull out all the stops, pull out all the tricks, and get back to basics. Live frugally, very, very frugally, save every penny, and go out of your way to save and invest every penny. And I believe that if you do that and do it to the best of your ability, by the time the end of the year gets here, your goals will be met. And that's how we're going to play this year's game. So before I leave, I just want to invite you to get your goals together, get your paperwork together so that you can monitor your progress over the next 12 months. Because January 1 is going to be our kickoff, and the year is going to be a great, great year. This is a great year for you to join us, a great year for you to be a part of a wow year for P.B.M. money. You have yourself a great day, a great week, and happy investing.